So how to start planning. Hi everyone, it's Kritika Isabella. As you guys already know, welcome back to my channel. And I don't know if you guys are aware or if you watched the last video, but we are full-fledged into our wedding series. It's called Save the Date Saturdays, and I'm so excited to begin. Our first installment, or our first episode if you will, is going to be how to start planning. What do you do after you get the ring? So that's what we're going to jump right into. How to start planning, you might be asking me. Well, my first tip for you guys would be enjoy this period of being engaged. It's an amazing experience and this blissful time in your life where you got a ring put on it, you know. So experience it to its fullest. The times that you guys are dating or courting and the time frame of which you are engaged is hopefully very short in comparison to how long you'll be married for. So enjoy this period of being able to call each other fiance. Relax. It takes a long time and a lot of energy to be able to plan a proposal for the groom, on his end I mean, and so just sort of bask in the glory and take that moment and just be excited for yourselves and celebrate this new step and this new life decision that you both are taking and this new journey you guys are going to be going on. My second tip for you guys would be write a list, brainstorm, get everything out on paper. If you are more tech savvy, then get it on your Google Docs or an Excel spreadsheet, but write down everything that is on your mind and heart regarding the wedding, whether that's budgets, lists, ideas, something you just don't want to forget, people, small little details that you guys want to make sure that you put down on paper. Make sure you do that. This part of the planning process you guys can actually do before you even get engaged, which is so awesome because these are the kinds of conversations you want to have, so neither one of you are awestruck in such ways, okay? The third thing would be create a budget. Budgets are so important, guys. A lot of people start planning and then they realize, oh my gosh, this is so unrealistic. Or they realize, hey, you know what? I just didn't sit down and plan and we have a lot more money to work with. Regardless of where you are on the spectrum, it's so important to create a budget. If you guys are creating a budget, I would say sit down with your fiance, sit down with your parents, anybody who's going to be financially contributing to the wedding. I would say sit down with all of them and come up with a very healthy number that you all can agree upon and feel comfortable with moving forward. Now, what I will say to you guys, and the caveat to this tip is assess where you guys are in your life. What are your other goals? Is this lavish or costly wedding going to put a damper on your other goals and dreams? And just sort of outweigh the pros and cons, and just remember at the end of the day, this is your life, and if somebody's not going to pay for it, then you have to do what you have to do. Now if they're forking out the bill, that's a little different, but I think ultimately we all want to make sure that we're making healthy decisions for our marriage, for our future, because a wedding is a one-day event. Even if you did it like me, it's a 3-day event, and it goes by so quickly, guys, and a lot of the things that you guys do, you have to live with. So make sure that that is a conversation because it's worth having. So in terms of budget, I just wanted to give you guys a ballpark number because a lot of people are like, how much do these things cost anyway? Well, I actually looked it up and I have the information right here on my lap, so I'm going to share it with you guys right here. The average wedding in Canada was $42,400 in 2017, and that included the honeymoon. And actually they even state the most of the money of that $42,400 went to the ceremony and the reception, which was $20,000 roughly. In America, weddings roughly are around the $33,000 mark. So long story short, people, these things are not cheap. I was watching some YouTubers, and I've heard some couples in the past who I've spoken with who have done it for $5,000 to $15,000. It is possible. So it's all about what you guys want. When you guys are brainstorming about your budget, this will give you sort of a ballpark number about what you're able to spend for your venue, on your vendors, on clothing, for your honeymoon. So this will allow you to see what you're able to spend on. And you guys actually might not even choose to include your honeymoon in this budget, because that could be a completely separate expense that you two decide to do separately from the wedding budget. But I would actually suggest that you just look at it together just to see where the number ends up lying. Number 4, guys, I would say would be the venue and location. So a lot of people will tell you you can't plan anything until you figure out the venue and the location. And the reason behind that is there's so many things or moving pieces that sort of have to fit in within that puzzle, if that makes sense. So my tip to you guys would be start looking at venues, start looking at locations. And that doesn't mean you have to go everywhere and look at everything in person. There are some amazing online resources like Wedding Wire, The Knot. They have reviews on both of those pages where you guys can just take a look on those sites and see what do other people say about those locations, about the food, about their experience, and that will sort of give you an idea of whether that sounds like something you'd like or something you want to stay far away from. So another caveat to this tip number 4 is I'm going to have a letter A in it, so it's going to be 4A, is your guest list. Have a rough idea of how many people you're looking at. And I say that this all ties in together because for a lot of these venues, they need to have a guest count in order to be able to see if they're going to be able to accommodate your wedding or your wedding party. So what I would say is have a rough idea going into it. Is it 100 people? Is it 10 people? Is it 500 people? Because that's going to narrow down your options significantly. Now, I'm in the GTA, and so when I was looking at a lot of venues in terms of chapels or wedding venues where you get where you actually get married, it ranges from 100 to 200 people in a lot of these venues. And if you're an ethnic person, I find that most people are saying, well, I have 500 people, I have 700 people. Well, in that case, that's going to significantly change your options for venues. So have an idea when you're looking at venues and you're looking at locations. Also have an idea of how many people you're going to have there or want to have there, and that's going to help you guys sort of narrow down your options. Tip number 5, timeline. Timelines are so important, guys. Are you going to have a short engagement or a long engagement? That's going to dictate so much of your decision making. With venues and locations, because we are located in the GTA, which is the Greater Toronto Area, our options for venues, they book up so quickly. So really you have to start, if you want a popular spot, you need to start booking out a year in advance, at least, and to some places maybe 2 years in advance. So in that case, so let's just say in my case, I had already known that we were going to get married in 2019, and by August of 2018 we weren't engaged yet, but we knew exactly what we were going to do. So what we did was we already started looking at those things and started brainstorming and planning as if we were already engaged, so that when we did get engaged, that wouldn't limit us because of timelines. That we already knew we didn't want a very long engagement, we wanted to get married quickly, so that it gave us the option of not losing out on a dream location because of timing. When you have, maybe you're planning a few years out, then let's just say that you get engaged in 2020 and you have a dream location, you have the option of saying, hey, can I lock in this price for 2022? Not every venue will do that, but some venues will, so that's just a heads up. On the other hand, if you're going to have a shorter engagement and you still want to have a lot of time to plan, I would say, who cares, just start planning. You know, the two of you know that you want to be together, you've already made that commitment, you guys understand, just start planning. Now if you don't care too much about venues or vendors or timelines, but you know you want to have a short engagement, so for example you get engaged late 2019 and you know you want to get married in 2020, and you don't care, then that's okay too. Like, you can just go with whoever has the availabilities and it will still be beautiful and it will still happen. Number 6, seasons. Okay, if you live in a country that is seasonal, like you have 2 to 4 seasons, like in our country where I'm from, Toronto, guys, Canada, we have 4 seasons. We have winter, spring, summer, fall. So we already talked about this years before we ever got engaged, when we would want to get married, because that's going to narrow down your scope as well. Because so many people say, how do I pick a date? There are 365 days in a year. How do I pick a date to get married? And I was one of those people, okay? I was sitting there like, there's 365 days. How do you expect me to just pick one with my eyes closed? No, there's some method to this madness, okay? So for example, if you have an ideal like date, so some people will say, I want to get married on New Year's Eve. I want to get married on Christmas Day. I want to get married on our anniversary. I want to get married on the day that we met. I want to get married on my parents' anniversary. Some people have significant dates. So then you already know going into it, you are looking for venues that have those dates available. Now, if you don't have that and you have a season in mind, like some people want a winter wonderland wedding. That was not my dream. Me and my now husband were very adamant on wanting to get married in the summer because we wanted to be able to have beautiful weather, be able to not be limited by our clothing because we had to be mindful of, oh, it's cold outside, you know? No, I didn't want to ruin my dress with the snow. It just was too much. So we already knew we wanted a warm day, and so we picked summer. And for us in Canada, our springs are quite mild. Like, they're not hot, they're not warm, and sometimes they're rainy, excuse me. So we were like, no, summer is the best bet. And in Canada, where we're from, we only have 3 solid months of summer, like June, July, August, which is also peak season, meaning everybody wants to get married then. So have that in mind, know that kind of thing. Like, is that when you want to get married, or do you want to get married in an off season? In the winter time, do you want to get married when it's raining outside? Like, listen, everything is not for everybody. Everybody likes different things, so that might be for you, you know? And the 7th and last tip for starting to plan for your wedding would be to have a vision, a dream, a theme, a style. What is that for you guys? Do you have something that you dreamt of as a little girl and said, hey, I want to have this fairy tale wedding? What does that look like? Do you want to have this rustic wedding? Do you want to have a very modern wedding? Like, what kind of wedding do you want to have? And you know what, when you sit down and look at a lot of venues or locations, that's sort of what you have to have in mind. Now, does this fit my idea? Does this fit my theme? Does this fit my style? Are you boho chic? Do you want to get married in a barn? Do you want to get married in a castle? Do you want to get married in a quaint church? Do you want to the options are endless, people, okay? So you have to sort of have an idea or see if you have a theme in mind. For my husband and I, we really wanted to have a fairy tale wedding. That was my dream. And his dream, funny enough, we both wanted to get married in a fairy tale like manner. So we were looking at options that would present us that flexibility. We weren't going to look at a barn because that didn't make much sense. Unless it wanted to be a farming or country princess, which no. So you'll sort of have an idea with that. Big tips for you guys is, if you have absolutely no idea, no vision, no dream, no style ideas, no nothing, look on Instagram, look on Pinterest. They are great resources to be able to say, hey, I like this, I don't like this. And on Instagram, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, there is a little icon where you can save now, and you can actually save it into a folder. So it's like Pinterest. And if you ask me, I actually really preferred Instagram because you're just able to look on all sorts of different pages, people in the area, like vendors in the area, people outside of the country, people across the world, and just get so much different inspiration. And so I found that that was an easier option. Plus, I was on Instagram more than Pinterest, people, okay? And another resource for you guys is on the Knots website. They have quizzes to check your style for your dresses, for your venue, for your wedding, for your ring. So use those resources if you guys need that, because that will really give you some inspiration, ideas, and sort of narrow down what you like. So I believe for the knot, I didn't personally do this, but I saw another YouTuber who was talking about this, and she said that for the knots quizzes, they give you like options between 2 pictures, and you pick which one you would rather, and at the end they will summarize like, oh my gosh, you are a bride who likes elegant, glam, modern, kind of a theme. And so that way you know going into it, okay, well, this is what I want because this is what fits me theme. Does that make sense? So I hope you guys loved this video as much as I loved making this video, and I hope that this helps you guys. I hope for those of you who are not getting married but are still watching this video, thank you guys so much for your support and love, and I hope that at some point in life when you are a bride or you're in a bridal party or going to a wedding, that you find that these tips were helpful. And love you guys so much, and I hope that this helps. And don't forget, friends, to like, comment, and subscribe, okay? Your girl loves to know what you guys are looking forward to, and press that notification bell, guys, so that you guys know when I post, okay? I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!